Good day, welcome to our revision class once again. Today we will be looking at the BECE questions. Basically, we would want to concentrate on 2023 objective questions, that's questions 1 to 80 and the theory. We would not be looking at the literature questions, reason being that the literature texts read in 2023 are not same with the literature texts 2024 students are making use of. So to this effect, we would run through questions on English alone and on the objective part as well as the theory part. So darlings, let's get started. All right, so what do we have here? All right, so we are reading the passage. Let's read the passage, then we would continue. Okay, first of all, we move to question 1. I think I moved to 6 already. So the first question, we'll have to read the passage first. So that's it. A hunter had a magic clock. The clock could take its wearer anywhere he wished to go. With its help, the hunter went with a girl to a mountain where there were many rich jewels. He did not know that the girl had made a plan with the witch to deceive him. The hunter and the girl collected the best jewels of the mountain, but the magic of the witch began to make the hunter feel very tired, and so he sat down and immediately fell asleep. As soon as he was fast asleep, the girl unfastened the cloak from his shoulders and put it over her own. Then, picking up the jewels she wished herself at home, immediately she disappeared. When the hunter awoke, he saw that the girl had tricked him. He was alone on the strange mountain and did not know how to find his way down. Then he saw 3 wicked giants coming towards him, and as he did not know how to escape, he lay down again and pretended to be asleep. The first 2 giants wanted to kill him, but the third said, "It's not worth the trouble. Leave him alone. He can't stay where he is. If he climbs higher to the top of the mountain, the clouds will carry him away." So they left him there and went away. As soon as they were gone, the hunter stood up and climbed to the top of the mountain. After a little while, a cloud floated near. He got hold of it and was carried about in the sky for some time. He was then dropped into a garden of vegetables. He felt hungry. Although he looked round the garden, he found no fruits of any kind. Nothing grew in the garden except fresh vegetables. But he was so hungry that he decided to eat some of them. So he chose one, ate it, and at once felt very strange indeed. He felt himself changing completely. He developed 4 legs and a thick head and 2 long ears. To his horror, he was now a donkey. Still hungry, however, he ate another vegetable and discovered that he was changing back to his human shape. Before he left the garden, he took a bit of those vegetables. "These," he said to himself, "will help me to get back my cloak and punish those who had deceived me." So he went to search for the castle in which the girl and the witch lived. He painted his face brown so that even his own mother would not have recognized him, and went up to the castle asking to be allowed to stay there for 1 night. So that's the story. A hunter who got deceived by a girl with the help of her witch, and how he finally found himself in a garden of vegetables, ate some, changed into a donkey, ate another, changed into his human self, and decided to take a bit of those vegetables with the hope that the vegetables would help him get hold of the girl and the witch. All right, so let's look at the questions and we'll answer appropriately. According to the passage, The hunter and the girl went up the mountain. Why? To hunt for treasure. That's the jewel. The hunter fell asleep after collecting the jewels on the mountain because the girl collected the magic cloak from him. He saw the magic on the witch took its toll on him. That's why he fell asleep. The magic of the witch took a toll on him. The giant believed that the hunter would be carried away by some what? Clouds. That's the answer. Which of the following can replace the word horror? And that's what? Fear. Alright, so a suitable title would be The Hunter and the what? The Magic Garden. Alright, so we have another passage to read. So let's read it again. So we must understand that in comprehension, in our BEC, we have 2 comprehension passages that we'll obviously read. So you have them and you have questions, about 5 questions from each of the passages. So the next one says, worry is a disquieting thought, fear and anxiety about known realities and unknown future realities. It is deadly and has nothing positive to offer its victims other than to load them with distress, disability, and disease. Worry wreaks havoc on one's health. It's important. When one worries, one feels a rush of adrenaline. One's heart rate and blood pressure go up. This is often known as the fight and flight response. This response is the body's reaction to danger, either to fight or to run away. When this is activated, the body releases some stress hormones from the brain. These hormones bring about different reactions that prepare the body for action. One of such hormones is what? Cortisone. It is one important body hormone that helps the body in regulating and modulating many of the changes that occur in the body in response to stress. But its long-term release has negative effects that disrupt the body's processes and put one at increased risk of numerous health problems. This is really educating. So, it opens the body to virus and bacterial attacks since the immune system, that is the body's defense system, has been weakened. It could also lead to digestive problems, heart disease, infertility, and miscarriages since the immune and reproductive processes have been either shut down or disrupted. However, worrying is a choice. That's the truth. The first thing to do when one is faced with the urge to worry is to take time out so that one can physically calm down, take short deep breath, face one's fears, imagine the worst, and resolve never to be overwhelmed by one's worries. Wow, that's an interesting one. A lot of us worry so much. So by today's passage, it is advising, it is educating us on the need not to worry. So let's look at the questions. According to the writer, one of the main sources of worry is what? Fear. One of the main sources of worry. The main sources is what? Fear. Fear of the unknown, all right? And fear of tomorrow, future realities. Which of the following is not caused by worry? High blood pressure, increased heartbeat, indigestion, low immunity, low secretion. No, they say there is a rush of adrenaline. So obviously the answer is low secretion of adrenaline. According to the passage, the best remedy for worry is to do what? Avoid challenges? No, obviously challenges will come. Engage in exercises that will not obviously ward off worry. Ensure self-comportment? Yes. That's just the best thing. Ensure self-what? Comportment. Calm down, face it. Whatever that wants to come, let it come. Find a way out of it. Fight, take a flight. No, you can't take a flight. As a matter of fact, worry is abstract. You can't run away from it. It's what will definitely come. So the answer is what? Ensure comportment. Now, what part of speech is the word danger as used in the passage? For as many of us have followed through, it's used as a noun. All right, look at it. Worry wreaks havoc on one's health. When one worries, one feels a rush of adrenaline. One's heart rate and blood pressure go up. This is one often known as a fight and flight response. This response is the body's reaction to what? Danger. So it's a noun. It's an abstract noun. All right, the main purpose. What's the main purpose of the writer in this passage? Like I said when I was reading it, the writer was aiming at educating. He's not appealing to us. He's not criticizing. He's not entertaining. He's not persuading. But rather he's what? Educating us on what we do not know. It's more like an expository essay. If you're asked to write an expository essay on worry, that's possibly what you do. And when you're writing an expository work, that's an explanatory essay. You are apparently explaining things. You are apparently educating people. So that's what happens in an expository essay. All right, so we move on to the others. We are done with comprehension. Let's look at the other aspects of English: vocabulary building, all right, or grammatical accuracy, either of the two. So government plans to dash more youths in skill development. What do government do? All right. I'm sorry. What does government do rather to her youths? Obviously, they don't force youths in skill acquisition. They don't initiate. It's not a form of. It's not a group. They don't instruct. They're not teaching anything. They don't socialize. They rather train. You train people on skill acquisitions. Didn't we do number 3? Did we not take care of number 3? Why is it showing not taken care of? Oh, I see. So number 3 was not taken care of. The giants believed that the hunter would do what? Be carried away. We took care of it now. All right. So number 12. I bought this item at a very high rate. It cost me so much, at a very high cost. It costs a lot. All right, so the boy infected with dash had red spots all over his body. So what gives red spots? Measles, right? Yes, measles gives red spots. We know tetanus is it's a kind of, yes, it's an infection that is gotten when a particular injury is not well taken care of. All right, so polio is what we give to children when they are growing up. Bird flu, we know them, and COVID-19. So doctors agree that drugs have psychological effects. Yes, effects, not signs, not symptoms, not advantages. We'll move on. The man who was dash, the dreaded disease, was quarantined. Who was injected with, infected with, affected by, no, infected with the dreaded disease was what? Quarantined. Giving dash to the poor is encouraged by all religion. What do you give to the poor? You give alms. You don't give donations. You don't give gifts. You don't give grants. You don't give loans. The poor, you give alms. Alms giving. Bible talked about alms giving. So when you give alms to the poor. The dash recommended a pair of reading glasses for Mary. So who do you go to when you need your glasses? The dentist has to do with the teeth. The gynecologist has to do with the women, pregnancy. The oncologist, who is an oncologist? Oncologist has to do with what? Is it the heart? Yes, I think that's so. If I'm not too, ophthalmologist is the heart. Okay, so I'm not too sure of the oncologist. So optician is the eyes, while the surgeon has to do with the operation. So we're looking at optician. All right. All right, when your train arrives, I will pick you up from the where? You pick someone up from the station. Terminal is where the end, the movement, all right? That's where you call terminal. Where you enter. The station is where you go to pick the person up. All right, the football match began as soon as the dash blew the whistle. So who blows the whistle in a football match? Obviously the referee. So those of us who are into match will know better. When you dash a book from the library, remember to return. So you borrow books. You borrow from the library. You don't collect, you don't lend, you don't loan, you don't take. You rather borrow books from the library. This story building was designed by a famous architect. An architect is responsible for designing houses. So an architecture is a course, all right, you study in the university, and those who study architecture are known as architects. So the dash checked us in when we arrived at the hotel. So the receptionist can be the chef, has to do with cooking, hostess, it has to do with the plane, waiter stands by for your demands, then the manager, one in charge. So the receptionist is the one that checks in. The dash presented enough evidence against the defendant, the lawyer. Lawyer is that one who stands in the law court to defend or to speak for. So the sick girl was dash malaria, was diagnosed. You diagnose someone of an illness he or she is suffering from. So the dash was inspected before the plane took off the runway. That's where the plane goes through before it takes off the runway. All right, we want to look at this. Let's see. All right, so we are to fill in the blank with the appropriate words. So which field of study are we looking at? This vocabulary on, hospital, medicine, all right? So a sick person goes to a hospital for treatment. That's why you go to the hospital. You don't go to the hospital for an advice. Obviously, you go for treatment. And when you go for treatment, you can get an advice. You can be analyzed. You can be diagnosed. Is that okay? You're right. You don't just go to the hospital for visitation. No, we are looking at a sick person. All right. So people go to the hospital to visit sick people. But now our focal point is on a sick person who goes to the hospital. He obviously is going there for treatment. When he goes for treatment, he could get an advice. He could be analyzed. He could also be diagnosed of something. But it's treatment that comes to mind. All right, so we'll move on. Next. So on arrival there, he goes to the outpatient department to obtain a card, and from there, he is ushered into a doctor's study or dash room. You go to the consulting room. Yes, once you get to the hospital, the consulting room is where you go to. As a matter of fact, in the consulting room, which I've been to before, when you get there, the essence of being there is to meet with the general doctor. After meeting with the general doctor and the general doctor making findings about what you came for, could now refer you to the specialized departments that you need to go to, or to the specialized doctor. So if you meet with the general doctor and you complain to the doctor that maybe your ears pain, you have throat pain, you have runny nose, the doctor could say, oh, it can be an issue. It can actually be an issue of ENT, that's ear, nose, and throat. So the general doctor refers you to the ENT doctor who will take up things from there. So you go to the consulting room. You don't go to the dressing, you don't go to emergency. It's not an emergency. You don't go to the injection room because you can't just go there when you have not been given any drugs. Then you're not going to the operation room because obviously there is no operation to be carried out. All right. So let's continue. Go to the consulting room. So after listening to his complaints and examining him, which may involve listening to sounds in his heart and lungs, using a what? Stethoscope, obviously. Stethoscope. Checking his body temperature. Oh, what's the body temperature? Is it 37? Is it 36? Is it 35? Is it normal? Is it not normal? So you check the body temperature using a clinical what? Thermometer, obviously. Using a clinical thermometer, checking his what? His lungs. No. You check his pulse. You know, if you actually have been to the hospital, it will be an easy one for you to do. And that's if you were taking cognizance of what was being done by the nurses at that point. So your pulse is being checked. So 32. After checking the pulse, you said, and blood what? Pressure. Obviously, you see where they check your blood pressure to know if it is high or low. All these contribute to what they could point at to be the problem. So blood pressure, the doctor may be able to the doctor at this point can diagnose what he is suffering from based on the symptoms seen. Yes, oh, headache, oh, this, oh, it could be malaria. All right, so based on the symptoms, what he is suffering from based on the symptoms and the doctor's findings. So if, however, he is not very sure of this, he may send the patient, all right, let's go and run a test, and it's in the pathology that we do such. The patient to the pathology department. There, they will run tests, either urine to check, physics to check, blood, it depends on them. So that has been taken care of. So let's continue. It says, complete each of the following sentences with the most appropriate of the options lettered A to E. The businessman deals dash children's clothes. Businessman deals in. So when you talk about trade and business, all right, and you want to use the appropriate preposition, the right preposition for trade and business is what? In. The businessman deals in children's clothes. So we move on, number 37. Who else has heard the story apart from me? You see, we don't have a part here. So apart from me, who else has heard the story? So it's more like saying besides me. It can't be beside me. No, besides me. Now, beside has to do with a preposition of position. But this has to do with an adverb. Aside from me, who else has heard the story? So there's a difference between beside and besides. All right, we'll move on to the next one. It says, Dari and Dash will travel tomorrow. Now we have options of personal pronouns. We have the subject personal pronoun, 1 subject personal pronoun, and 4 object personal pronouns. Now, we said that subject personal pronouns are doers of action, while objects are receivers of action. We have other ways to identify object personal pronouns and when to use our subject personal pronouns. You actually want to get to know more about this, then go to my video on pronouns. You will have a total holistic analysis on how to know when to use a subject personal pronoun and the object personal pronoun. So for this question, it will be Dari and I will travel tomorrow. Why? Because I is a subject personal pronoun, is a doer of the action. So I'm the one traveling. Dari is the one traveling. So I can't say Dari and her. We speak it, but it's wrong. All right. So in a context like this, imagine where you have about 4 object personal pronouns. All of them are workable if you are going to go by the way we speak, the way we communicate using our pronouns, object personal pronouns. But in context like this, the answer is what? I. Then to use your subjects appropriately. All right, so we go on to the next. Mother bought dash mangoes. Now this question is obviously testing our knowledge on order of adjectives. Now in one of my teachings on adjectives, I made us understand that adjectives are words that are used to describe a person or a thing. Now upon description, it's possible for you to use more than one adjective depending on what you want to describe and yes, the level of description you want to give to it. So in this mango, we want to describe it and we are looking at 3 aspects of adjectives. So we need to organize, or rather arrange, these number of adjectives accordingly. Now, in order of adjectives, we have quantity, quality, size, age, shape, color. We have origin. We have material. Then we have the a word that is being described, and that's the noun word. So in this example, it's easy in this case, reason being that I have only one quantity as an option. So being that the first point of call in order of adjective is a quantity, 5 is quantity. Now, how do I know my quantity? Articles can serve as quantity: a and the, all right, some, few, a little, much, more. These are adjectives that depict quantity. Then 2 is also quantity, 3 is quantity. So 5, I don't have any other option with 5, else I would have been bothered about looking out for the right one. So it will be a case of quantity, quantity, quality. There is no quality. So you have 5 big ripe oranges, 5 big ripe oranges. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, it says the accident victim was rescued by some passers-by. Right, it's a plural form, passers. Then by, when you have a compound word and you are to pluralize a compound, obviously a noun word that is compound in form, you are to pluralize the noun word. If it has a preposition with it, you are to pluralize the noun word and not the preposition. So there is nothing like passer-bys, rather it's passers-by. All right, so this is a test of our use of prefixes. Prefixes are word elements added to a root word to change the meaning but would not change the word class, unlike suffixes. Are you bothered about this topic, prefixes and suffixes? Then you have nothing to worry about. I've got your back. Go on to my video on prefixes and suffixes and trust that you will have an exciting moment listening to the topic. So for this, the right prefix for adjust will be what? Misadjust. When you adjust something, is done well. So when you misadjust, it's not appropriately done. So we're looking at active voice and passive voice. Active voice is the normal way we speak, where the subject remains the subject and the object remains the object, and we use the appropriate verb form for it. That's active. But in passive voice, the object takes the place of the subject, while the subject takes the place of the object. Yes, the subject takes the place of the object. Apart from that rule, we also must understand that the verb form changes. The verb is not in its original form. There's an inclusion of an auxiliary verb to the old one. You change the form of that verb. That's just what it is. All right, so let's look at this example. It says, someone stole my book. So if I'm changing to passive, it becomes, my book has been, yes, my book was stolen. Someone stole my book. My book was, remember I stole, so it's in the past. So it remains a past. My book was stolen by someone. So my book was stolen. All right? Okay, so my book was stolen by someone. So if it were to be, my book was stolen by someone, once changed to active, it will be, someone stole my book. I have my teaching on active and passive voice. So for more clarification, since it's a question and answer segment, you could actually go through it and understand better on that very one. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, 43. Question 43 says, complete each of the following sentences with the most appropriate of the options lettered A to D. All right, we'll move on to question 43. And it says, my father worked with the company for 20 years before he retired. So we are looking at the past form, and obviously we'll go for the past form of the verb. That will be the past perfect, because we are looking at the word retired. So the answer would be what? My father had worked, because the sentence is in the past form. So we'll go for the past perfect. All right, so that's it. Joy dashed to work regularly. Joy comes to work regularly. Someone would ask, why did you choose comes? I could actually say, Joy is, does it sound okay? Joy is coming to work regularly. That doesn't even sound okay. You know why? So regularly is something that one does virtually every time. So whenever such adverb is used, what do? Look out for a verb that shows habits. All right, and S verb shows habits if it's singular. Without S is plural. So if it were to be, they said, I dash to work regularly, it would be I come to work regularly, or they come to work regularly. But because it's in the joy is singular, and it goes with a singular verb, habitual, because is a singular verb, has is a singular verb. But we can't go with either of these two. Reason being that Joy does this virtually on a regular basis. So it demands a verb that shows habits, what one is fond of doing. So Joy comes, it's what Joy is fond of doing. All right? So we have the direct and indirect speech. Direct and indirect speech. Now, direct speech is also called quoted speech, the exact words of the speaker, while indirect speech is referred to as reported speech, which is what? Not the original words of the speaker. It's someone else saying it as, he or she heard from the original speaker. So there are certain rules that guide direct and indirect speech. You want to get yourself acquainted with these rules, you can always go to Sigmatech site and look out for the English classes and topics. You will definitely see direct and indirect speech. But one thing I would like us to know, for those who may be so much in a hurry and may not actually have time at the moment to go through, there are certain changes that occur in indirect speech. Now, in direct speech, you see that as it is called quoted speech, part of the sentence is in quoted form, while the other isn't. And we have a comma in it. We have punctuation marks in the direct speech. But in direct speech, the only punctuation mark you have there is a dot, which is a normal thing. So another thing that will obviously change in indirect speech that we do not have in direct speech is the place of the pronoun. When I will be changing to indirect speech, the word our will change, and I will as well change the verb is. So these are the two things that change in direct and indirect speech. Again, days, or rather should I put it in time, the time something is done. Was it done yesterday? Was it done a day before, previous day, tomorrow, a day after? Those will always change at the point of changing from direct to indirect speech. So the example here says, the question here says, our teacher is from Lagos, the boy said. Now this sentence can also come in this format. The boy said, comma, our teacher is from Lagos. So in indirect speech, it becomes, the boy said that their teacher was from Lagos. So the answer is E, the teacher was from Lagos. That's indirect speech. I'm reporting, he said that their teacher was from Lagos. But direct is exact words of the speaker. So if I had traveled to the village, I dash have brought down wine. If I had traveled, that's the past perfect. So I will go for a perfect auxiliary modal verb. Yes, the auxiliary modal verb, that's the secondary auxiliary verb to complete the sentence. So the appropriate is would. Active and passive, and bringing in the subjects to the point of the object and the object. So all the latecomers will be punished by the principal. The principal would punish all the words latecomers. The verb has to change. The student who is ill, will have recovered by the time school resumes. All right? The student who is ill will have recovered. I dashed my friend and her twin sister at the supermarket yesterday. Yesterday, that's past tense, so I saw. All right, we're moving, we're getting there. Number 5, direct and indirect speech. The birds fly, my sister said. Birds fly. Are we going to change the form of the verb to past tense? No. Why? Because it is used in its habitual form, so we retain it. It did not give us, the verb form is not in such a way that is showing the tense, be it in the past or in the past participle. No. So it's not in the past, so we're not changing the form because it's in its habitual form. So my sister said that birds, that's what birds do. Birds actually fly. So he dashed from the palm tree while he was tapping was tapping is a past continuous. So my verb choice has to be in the past. So he fell from the palm tree. Neither the boy nor his parents dashed the whereabouts of the girl. Neither nor. This is your concord. And the type of concord faced here with is what we call proximity concord. Neither nor, either or. And the rule of proximity concord says that the verb, you have 2 subjects rather. So you have, sometimes you could have 3 subjects. Boy is a subject, parents, subject. So the parents will determine our verb choice. And because parents, it's plural, it will demand us going for the plural verb, which is no. So neither the boy nor the parents nor his parents know the whereabouts of the girl. Now look at the same sentence. If it were to be that we had something like neither his parents nor the boy, the answer will be what? Knows. Why? Because boy is the last subject before the verb choice. All right, 53. It was you who dash asked to represent. Who was asked to represent? You. Who was asked to represent? I. Who was asked to represent? She. So it was you who was asked to represent. Don't allow yourself to be confused there. So the cost of food items dash risen in the market. We are looking at the costs, not items. So the cost of food items has risen in the what? Market, not have risen. Do not get confused with the items. We are looking at the cost. What has risen? The cost of things in the market has risen, not have risen. So one of the boys who dashed for the school team was injured. Oh, there is it. Okay, so one of the boys who was playing for the school team. My niece is dash talkative that she hardly allows you say any word when you are with her. She's such a talkative. Such a talkative. She's quite talkative. No, she's so talkative. No, she's such talkative. She's very talkative. No, she's quite. She's such a talkative that she will not allow you. So the violent protests by some of the students may have a dash on the entire school. Repercussions. So our test of spelling, see how important it is for us to know how to spell. Imagine you have not come across this word, or you once came across the word and you didn't bother to check the appropriate spelling. So the answer is what? This is the word repercussion, and it's spelled R-E-P-E-R-C-U-S-S-I-O-N. So the answer is E. R-E-P-E-R-C-U-S-S-I-O-N. That's repercussion. All right. It says, he eats bread every day. Dash he. That's a question tag. Do I have a video? It's teaching on question tag. The answer is yes. You want to get acquainted with how best to attempt questions on question tags, then that video is for you. You could go on to it. But I'll give us 2 key rules on question tags, then you can read up the others. Now, one of the rules of question tags says that a positive statement goes with a negative question mark, and a negative statement goes with a positive question tag. Now, the statement I have here says he eats bread every day. It's a positive statement. He did not say he does not eat bread. He says he eats bread. That means the statement is positive. So the response will be what? Doesn't he? Now, when you have the main verb in a statement, you always go for a question tag in doesn't, don't, does, do, didn't, did, all right? But when the verb in a statement is an auxiliary verb, is not the main verb, that's the lexical verb, the action verb. I guess it's best put that way. So when the verb is not an action verb, is an auxiliary verb, it is, was, are. So your question tag is determined by the auxiliary verb. So if it's he isn't, is he, all right? I pray we get across such. So the answer here is doesn't he. Why am I going for doesn't he? Because the verb here says eats. And I just told us that when the verb in a statement requiring a question tag response is in a main form, is an action verb, then go for such verbs as does, doesn't, do, don't, did, didn't. It depends. So Abdul is not a good footballer. Okay? This is another question tag. Abdul is not a good footballer. Now look at what I was saying while I was explaining the question before this, the previous question. Is an auxiliary verb. So this is will determine my question tag. But before I go on with the question tag, I should ask myself, is the statement in a positive form or a negative form? This statement is a negative statement. And what makes it negative? Because of the NOT. So he's saying Abdul is not. So my response will be what? Is he? It can be isn't he. Why? Because the statement is already in the negative form. So any statement that is in a negative form would demand for a positive question tag. And that positive question tag is the auxiliary verb or any verb form without the NOTE in its contracted form. All right, number 60. The novel was so interesting that I had to read it again. So that's the right relative pronoun to be used. It was so interesting that I had to read it again. All right, 61, we're almost there. All right, another spelling drill. It says, contrary to what some people may think, age is not synonymous to wisdom. So we want to get the right spelling rather for synonymous. So we look at SYMO. No, it's not synonymous. It's pronounced synonymous. So let's look at option B, SYNONYMOUS. Perfect. All right, 62. I lost a dash of keys. That's collective now. Obviously, it's a bunch of keys. A mouse ran across the room. Dash, you were on the phone. While you were on the phone, that's at the time. She signed on the dotted lines. You sign on something. You don't sign in. You can sign in a column. All right? Yes, but you don't sign. What it has to do with the line? You sign on a dotted lines. So I shared the cherry dash Jane and her siblings. Very important. That's between and among. And when it is between, it has to do with two persons. But if it's among, 3 and above. So the answer is among. Well, we've come to sounds where people don't actually like. But trust me, I like sounds. I don't know why, but I just enjoy it. Reason being that sometimes once I see a word, I try to pronounce the word appropriately, and when I'm done pronouncing, I try to transcribe, not because I'm a teacher, but it's just what I find fun doing, because I just like to pronounce words correctly in case I happen to bump into the native speakers. I wouldn't mess myself up, so that's just it. So choose from the words lettered A to D, the one that contains the right phonetic symbol. This is the sh sound, fuss, hash. This is lounge, this is sense, and this is search. They have the ch sound, but this sh, hash. Right, next is the not G. This is as in mesh. All right, so this is what? Lisha. This is ravage. All right, this is tensh. This is verse. This is praise, Z sound. So lisha, not leisure. All right, this is the as in back. But B-A-R-K, back is different from back. My back aches. I had the dog back. So here the answer is man. Short R sound. Ooh sound. This is full. I'm full. This is furniture. There is no oo here. This is match. Option C is match. There is no oo. This is sar, and this is spoon. That's the oo sound. 70. All right. Question 70 says, that's a monkey sound. So this is birch, as in urge. This is break. This is cap. It has it, cap. This is dark, and this is gurgle. So the answer is cap. This is the R sound. This is back, the example I gave. That's not. This is card, like back, card, arc. So this is the answer. This is fact. It has the same sound with option A. This is made, is a diphthong, and this is search, sound. All right, we'll move on. Z sound. This is sis. This is fence. This S changes to S. This C changes to S rather. The C in fence changes to the S. This is reverse. Also, this is rice. Also, and this is what? Rosy. That's the Z sound. We'll move to the next O sound. This is blood. This is blood. It has the V downward. This is coil. That's a diphthong. This is cam. Has the same sound with blood. This is fort. The O sound. And this is the short sound. That's the short of this. So we'll move on. 74. This depot, father, satchel, whistle, and worth. So the answer is what? Satchel. Whistle, the T is silent, and in the word depot, the T is silent, while option B and option D are the audible TH sound. The, as in feather, as in feather. Okay, this not audible TH, this is a silent TH. Worth, that people call teeth. Worth. Right, so the answer is satchel. The B is silent. Oi sound. Oi sound is one of the easiest sounds. So this is it. Choice. This is holy. This is honest. This is idiot. And this is so. So it's choice. Number 76. Sound. As in poor. All right, so the answer is cure. This is curl, this is here, house, and rear. So the answer is cure. 77, L sound. L sound, as in girl, as in glow, as in slow. So here we have ocean, the O-L, ocean, ocean. This is pocket, this is coil, this is coffee, and this is snot. The answer is ocean. Now, you could actually use your dictionary to check the right pronunciation of words and the sounds that are appropriate. All right, this is the J sound. We have breeze, no J there. Fish, no J there. J. All right, this is the answer. This is preach, and this is prig. 79. This is chore. This is clinch, knee, knife, and no. So that is it. So you see that all these K's are silent, so you won't be carried away. Clinch. Finally, we have the nasal sound. As in sing, sung, pink, pink. So the answer is what? Link. It comes to the nose. That's how you know this sound. All right, so that's that. We've come to the end of this revision, BECE objective questions. I would challenge you to go into other years, use your knowledge so far you have gathered from this revision exercise to attempt other questions, as well as other questions that may not be BECE but junior WAEC exams from other states, and see how far you can go. All right, if need be, time yourself so as to get the best out of the exercise. Thank you. Let's go on to the theory part.